Good morning. I'm coming from the gym again. Josan. Oh, I had last night, 10 o'clock at night, 10:20, 10:40, just before we were going to go to bed. It's too late to go to bed anyway. But I realized I hadn't sent my email out. I was like, no. It was the last thing I forgot to do on my list yesterday. I managed to have my long day with clients, caught up with a friend, got the Tea with Maja episode out. I'm pretty sure. I hope I did. I need to double check that right now. I haven't even checked my laptop. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Yesterday was a non-posting day then. And I guess this morning it's just making me think about sometimes how when we are juggling so many things and things start to slip through the cracks, realizing what's actually slipping through the cracks and what needs to be going through and what needs to be like with your attention on it, the fact that it's slipping. Grand scheme of things, it's not the end of the world that my email didn't go out yesterday. Nobody's going to die if my email doesn't go out. I remember seeing a phrase online with some of these younger creators when they were like, post every day for a year and just have this thing in your head that if you don't post, your head explodes. And I was like, okay. And I get for a certain period of time, like the intensity and the commitment to something, you've got to almost set those stakes a little bit higher to get yourself over the line. But this started happening around June after I was doing the daily emails, and I'd realized over that weekend that the weekends that it was getting too much. And honestly, changing to Monday to Friday, I didn't realize how much of a difference that was going to make to me. Like being able to have the Saturday, Sunday off fully from content, from feeling like I needed to find an insight, from doing anything else, like that recharge, reset the level, but then you also have to remember, like, you are human. I think this is something that we forget as well, or not forget, I just think it's very easy to gloss over sometimes, especially when we put ourselves on these treadmills of overstacked schedules, even if it is just for a period of time. There are going to be things that fall through the cracks when you're tired. There are going to be things that don't get your full attention if you are slowly losing sleep over time. And I think it's reminding yourself during times of more input or more stress or higher execution rates. I don't know, there are going to always be seasons, right? Seasons and cycles, but to give yourself grace as well during those times and remind yourself that yes, if you're doing a lot, I don't know, I remember that feeling. It's like I can only equate it to kind of like the same feeling I felt when I'd slept through my first alarm and, missed opening the gym or missed a client or something. And you get this like, it's like, it's a horrible feeling. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if I brush that off, like, it's not the end of the world. Like, it is amazing sometimes how heavy a lot of things feel, or how high risk it feels when we put ourselves in the environments to operate at such a pace. And then again, finding where those sustainable and unsustainable barriers are so that you're not keeping yourself in an unsustainable zone for so long that you end up tripping up over your own feet and then what? Beating yourself up about it? And then, yeah, I think this is just, it's I guess it's planning, I guess it's future-proofing, I guess it's, I don't know, I remember doing the agency stuff and, we were building the office, we were working with all these clients, but everything was so close to being, I don't know, a step away from all falling over. Like there was no room for error. And I think that's where we put our own selves into trouble during this journey, as we fill every nanosecond of time, or we try to optimize or organize, and it's like, okay, great, but to what end, or to what end goal? And I think if you just have in your mind that you're going to be operating at this base level of frazzled, and then that's the way that it's going to be solved. I don't think that's the way that it's going to be solved, or ever has been solved. I think that just tends to lead to a couple of options, which is like burnout, failure, because you just can't keep up with it, Well, I don't know, I guess ideally that's the point where people assume that they're going to scale, right? You build it up to a point and then you delegate or you know, yeah. Let me have a sip of my coffee. Let's see if words can formulate. Thursday, episode 62, hey? I'm still really excited that we started this. I can't believe I started this series when my family was in town in May and we had that magical weekend for Danny's orchestra concert. I realized I scrolled back the other day. I was showing a client yesterday just a little bit of my YouTube thing, and it was nice to watch and scroll back, and that kind of, it was that pin from that lady that we talked about the other week about how your page is your digital portfolio, or content creation over time is your digital portfolio, and as you zoom out, you create little pieces for people to consume. But on YouTube, it's really nice to have that like library of things that people can go through. So if they find one episode, then they can go and find the thread or find another one and spend some more time with you. And so really the goal is the output of the videos. How many videos can you lay the groundwork with so that when people do eventually land on your page, they have the opportunity to spend more time with you. You don't just have one other video. I love how the light's catching my shoulders. I'm not going to lie, I am getting quite excited that I've been training quite a lot in the gym by default. And I think even just standing on my feet and moving weights around has, helped with things. My abs have started to come back, my knees healing, I'm feeling stronger. It's amazing how, I still find it amazing though how you reset your own baseline every time with all of this. And I think so much of this game is setting your own expectations and making sure that as things shift, those are also reshifting, and they're, I guess, just being readdressed. Like, even my husband has a friend who's been training for a swimming event or a swimming competition, and the other week he like tweaked his shoulder, and so, you know, shit happens sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes things go 110% according to plan. I feel like I couldn't even say that whole sentence without laughing, because I don't know if anything ever goes 100% according to plan. Could go better than planned. Could always also go worse. Um, now I'm laughing with myself. But it's that. It's like, okay, something's happened. This is still the goal, but now, because this thing has happened, change the expectations. There's no point keeping the same expectations if something shifted and you're not now able to fulfill that same thing. You're just going to beat yourself up for no reason, or you're going to just give yourself a hard time for what? Like, why? I think so much of what I've had to unlearn, I know for me it was always a big thing. The overthinking has always been a big thing. I don't know if that's also just a female thing, tendencies as well, but man, the amount of self-stress I was able to create, especially around things that I felt were important, but I didn't always have either full control over, or it was down to somebody else to do, which meant it's not in my control, so I have to kind of step away. Zooming out has been a big exercise for me, like physically, not physically, but like viscerally in my mind. Even at one point I had this practice where if I could start feeling my heart racing a little bit again with nerves or worry or panic or anxiety, I would literally drop my shoulders and do this and start like brushing it off and asking myself, okay, what are we worrying about? There's that beautiful phrase, like, worrying is worshipping the problem. And it's just so unnecessary, right? I think I do pride myself on being very adaptable. I do pride myself on having moved through so many different industries and so many different scenarios and so many different countries and travel plans and shit that's gone wrong or, sideways. My sister and I always had this hilarious thing. I mean, that summer that we went to Ibiza, I will still have to tell that story eventually at one point. I remember the day I did, either the camera wasn't recording or the mic wasn't recording, and I was like, well, it was not meant to be. But You know, we landed in Ibiza with £100, somewhere to stay for 3 days on the whim that this lady was going to get us a job, and she never called. We couldn't find her, and so we were a bit like, hmm. Everybody already had their positions. Everybody already had their thing. Accommodation for workers was filling up. So, what to do? What to do? I don't know. I think I've put myself in quite a few, well, a rather lot of stupid situations. But I think it's also taught me about resilience, about just figuring it out, figuring it out, getting on with it, and pivoting. We had this amazing phrase, we used to just yell at each other, plot twist, if something didn't go according to plan. Because it was just, okay, and now what are you going to do? And now what are you going to do? And now what are you going to do from here? And now what are you going to do? And I think we actually get ourselves in more trouble when we're white knuckling our way to something and we're not actually allowing that, I guess, that co-creation to kind of happen with what it is that we're doing. We're trying to suffocate and control the life out of it, and then we wonder why it's not always coming through in the way that we want. And I think life has such a funny way of trying to, I don't know, let us know how little we are in control of all of this. But at the same time, we have the opportunity to bring into this world what it is that we see, what it is that we're feeling, and these new perspectives as we learn and grow and as we find new territory. I just had this visual of World of Warcraft. I remember trying to play that when I was a kid, and when that map appears as you walk into new territory, it's kind of like that. It's almost like you have to feel, or you have to be operating from this like little bubble of the now, where it's like, yes, you can have the North Star goals. Yes, we can have the plans for what we want to be aiming towards in the next 3, 6, 12 months, but also 3, 6, 12 years. Like, you can stretch it out, but then it's almost like fully releasing the how it's going to happen, and then fully committing to the reps of becoming the person that you need to be in order to have those things, or in order to move into that direction. Where am I going with this? I'm not entirely sure. It is 7:10 in the morning. A little bit later, but I do have a client in about 15 minutes. So I would actually like to go and get my email written for today and maybe get this uploaded. I've been having a nice little smooth rhythm where I film this, I upload it, I've got the transcript that helps me with the emails and helps me with the posts throughout the day, and then I add my own little other insights and things that pop up, or if there's a thread that we've been talking about a few weeks ago that has kind of come up again, we'll go off that and, tap on that again. But it's nice to have that kind of flow of the content that works. I haven't found my flow for a long time that's been able to be this consistent, considering what's been happening with my schedule. So again, as much as I get like a little about not sending out an email yesterday, I can also turn around quickly and my mind doesn't now start berating me for no reason for that one little thing. It starts going, okay, well, hang on a minute, can we just look at what you have done, please? Give yourself a little bit of credit, give yourself a little bit of grace. You've started a new job, you've been juggling new clients, you've been juggling your old clients, you've got everything that you've been doing. Like, just calm and carry on. And I think this as well, our own expectations, our own weight that we're putting on ourselves. There is enough weight of the world already being put on us. We should not be the ones that are putting extra on us. And so I think it's that, like, how quiet can you get? How removed from the over-emotionalized version of everything can you get, where you're able to move through things a little bit more calm, cool, and collected? Because from that state, from that state, it is a lot easier to stay in touch with your intuition and with your gut feeling, and to be like, red flag here, green flag here, or to also realize that, you may need a bit more help, or you may need to give yourself a little bit of patience through a certain period of time while X is happening. I think it's very easy, again, to get stuck into the mindset of, why aren't things happening so quickly, or why hasn't it been X? And, once you get into a flow of creation or into a bit of a rhythm, you need to allow it to set its course. You need to allow it to take root. You need to allow it to become part of the system, and then see and then test what happens if you get thrown off. What happens if you miss a day or you fuck up? Like, how does that affect everything else? Do you let it affect you, or do you just get up and carry on? That's that like conveyor belt analogy that I keep bringing up that Becca says. You know, once you're on it, once you're on that conveyor belt towards success, your only job is to stay on, and it's moving whether you're on it or you're not. It'll keep going. You know, rocks are going to be thrown at you, obstacles are going to be thrown in your way. Jump over them, duck and run, you know, rest if you need, but stay on it, stay on course, and it'll keep getting you to where you want to go. Add that brushstroke, come back to the painting. Come back to the painting. I'm so close. I'm so close. I do realize that there has been a couple of reasons why I've been procrastinating on that. There are a few details that if I'd have sent that piece earlier wouldn't have been added to the piece. And now I'm being a little bit of a chicken shit and just saying I need more hours to do it each time I sit down, which I really don't. I've got a couple of allocated hours this week, and I'm going to get it finished. I'm very close to getting it finished, and I really want to get that sent off before I disappear for the mountains, and I will. But it's amazing again how when you decide to work on your own things, life will turn around and be like, do you really want it? We're going to pretend to be busy over here. We're going to pretend to be busy over here. Suddenly something's going to come up. There's going to be something very real to be busy with over here. You know, somebody's going to get sick, or someone's going to need your attention, or something else is going to come up. And it's like, okay, are you still carving out the time? Are you still finding the time? And it's that, you know, what I was saying yesterday with my client. Oh, I forgot my earring. I love this one, my industrial piercing. Got that when I was 18 in Spain, in Madrid. What was it? It was what I was saying yesterday about one of my clients with her meetings moving earlier and earlier, and she's still deciding to fit in the gym. You know, once you've decided, once you've committed, once you've put something out there and you've decided to find ways, find a way. And again, there will be periods where you are giving more than maybe you want to indefinitely because you know it's not sustainable, but then isolate those periods. Give yourself, you know, sprints and then breaks. Don't just set yourself off on a path to burnout for no reason other than your own stupid mind going, I must push through, I must. Like, there is that difference between just hustling harder and then fucking just drowning with a smile on your face. And it's that. And it's so hard to find that in between, and especially when you're in it. You know, and it's so easy to not give yourself any credit for what you're doing because you just overlook everything that you're capable of doing. So I think, you know, let this be a little bit of a reminder. If you're feeling a little bit, you know, overwhelmed, or you feel like you're starting to drop the ball a little bit, just realize where you're at, all right? Realize where you've come from. Give yourself a little bit of grace. Set yourself a new game plan and make sure it's sustainable, and make sure the things that are important aren't allowed to get dropped again for the sake of life getting too busy. Find those ways in. Even if you're a little bit tired completing it right now, you will build up those reps. You will get faster at sitting down to, you know, have that session, and what you can accomplish in that session gets greater over time. All right? Just realize the time. I'm going to go. The gym's starting to fill up with clients, and I'm hiding in the office in the corner. So, yeah. Email will get sent out today. I will make sure that happens. Hope you guys are all right, and I will see you tomorrow.